Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back. Today we'll be doing the most underrated map in every Treyarch game from World at War to Black Ops Cold War. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Now for our first game, we have World at War, and the most underrated map on this game is going to Verrückt. Now, usually with World at War maps, the ones that are talked about the most are the other three, being Nacht der Toten, Shi No Numa, and Der Riese. Nacht usually gets a lot of praise because it's the first map ever. Der Riese gets a lot of praise because it's the best map on World at War, and it also introduced the Pack-a-Punch machine. And Shi No Numa gets a lot of praise on World at War because of the high rounds that you can get to easily on this map. Verrückt usually gets left behind because there isn't anything in particular that stands out about this map. That doesn't mean that it's a bad map though, as Verrückt is still fun to play from time to time. It's very fast paced and the first map to introduce perks, a power switch, and a moving box mechanic, which for the time was very innovative. Verrückt is also personally one of my favorite maps when it comes to zombies in general because of the fast paced gameplay. It also fits perfectly in with World at War's atmosphere, as it's one of the most horrifying maps in zombies. Overall, compared to other maps in World at War, Verrückt gets overshadowed a lot by the others, mainly for lacking a key component or something that makes it stand out above the rest, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad map by any means. The most underrated map in Black Ops 1 is 5. During the launch of this game, about 90% of the people played Keener der Toten because it was an easy map to get into zombies for the first time. Not only that, but 5 overall just wasn't appealing for most players. Back then, most people regarded 5 as being one of the worst maps of all time, on par with Transit and Die Rise. However, this map only seemed to get better with time. As the old generation of zombies players got better at the game, they would find themselves revisiting a lot of the older maps in Black Ops 1 and World at War, and since they would now have a better understanding of how zombies works, they began to appreciate 5 a lot more. If you are a good zombies player and you can make do with only using traps at your disposal, 5 can be a really fun map that constantly keeps you on your toes as you play along. With the Pentagon Thief and tight corridors, this is by no means a map for the casual audience, but just because the map is hard doesn't mean that it's bad. With 5, it's such a fun and interesting concept of a map to play on. You have very interesting characters that you can play as, such as the President of the United States, as well as some other iconic figures such as Fidel Castro. 5 was hated back in the day due to its difficulty, but now it's a really respected map with a lot of interesting features that constantly keeps the player engaged. Moving into our next game, we have Black Ops 2. Now, the most underrated map in Black Ops 2 is Buried. Now, this map has grown on me a lot over time. I used to be a Buried hater as the map layout looked confusing and the wonder weapon was also really overpowered, making for boring high-round gameplay. Not only that, but this map in general was released in a weird spot during Black Ops 2. You have the two worst maps in zombies being Transit and Die Rise, which were released by Jimmy Zielinski, but then you have Mob of the Dead right afterwards with Jason Blundell, and then for some reason Jimmy decided to come back for the third DLC to finish off the already horrible Victus storyline with Buried. This map is sandwiched between the worst and the best of Black Ops 2, which makes a lot of people skip over it. Not only that, but this map is based around one of the worst crews to be introduced into zombies, which just makes it even worse. But if you skip over all of that and just look at the map for what it is, there's a lot to love about Buried. This map used to be considered too easy back in the day, but now it's considered a fairly hard map with a challenging Easter egg and a difficult high round for any round higher than round 70. This still doesn't take away from the experience, as you have so many different mechanics to help you throughout the map, like Leroy, traps and buildables, chalk drawing wall buys, the Ray Gun Mark II, and so much more. When it comes to this map, it can get a bad rep because of all the outside features that come along with it, but if you focus on the map itself, there's so much to love about Buried. Now, moving to our next game, we have Black Ops 3. Now, the most underrated map in Black Ops 3 is definitely going to Zetsubo no Shima. This map follows the same formula that most other maps on this list have had, where it started off as a really hated experience, but grew to be considered a fairly great map. Compared to every other map in Black Ops 3, Zetsubo isn't that good. Horizon Drag, Shadows of Evil, Gorod Krovi, and Origins are all maps that are surrounding Zetsubo, and compared to this map, there's no competition. During the launch of Zetsubo, a lot of people didn't like the map solely because it was worse than Shadows of Evil and Horizon Drag. So much in fact that specific YouTubers went as far as to claim that it was one of the worst Zombies has to offer. And while it's not that good compared to DE and Shadows, compared to most other maps in Zombies, this is a masterpiece of a map. It has a ton of different side Easter eggs and multiple boss fights for the main Easter egg, a super strong specialist weapon, and a really solid wonder weapon. The only thing that I don't like much about Zetsubo is the Thrashers, which are hard to take down and don't reward you with much, but compared to the Avogadro on Transit, I'd much prefer the Thrasher. Overall, Zetsubo is not the best map compared to others in Black Ops 3, but it's still a great map, especially compared to others in Zombies, therefore making it the most underrated in Black Ops 3. Moving into Black Ops 4, we have Dead of the Night as the most underrated map. Dead of the Night is a map that you either love or you hate. From what I've seen with the group of people that hate Dead of the Night, the two big reasons are the launch of the map and the large amount of part locations that you have to remember, which are both valid points when looking at this map. But other than that, I find Dead of the Night to be a really fun experience. You have so many fun side Easter eggs like all the hidden rooms that give you power-ups and cool weapons. You have a really strong solid wonder weapon being the Alistair's Annihilator, but what makes this map one of the best in my opinion is the silver bullets mechanic. This was the first time ever in Zombies that you can improve your firepower of your weapon without using the Pack-a-Punch or perk machines. Using silver bullets deals more damage against certain enemies on the map, and you can also refill any gun with ammo, making high rounds really easy and fun. The Easter egg is also very cool. I love the one step where you have to give souls to all the knights surrounding the Pack-a-Punch, and the boss fight has some very cool mechanics as well. Overall, when it comes to this map, the big reason that it's hated is because of all the terrible promotion for the game. There was no warning from Treyarch that this map was going to release, making it very underwhelming when it finally did come out. Not only that, but the countless amount of part locations can also be very overwhelming for the average player. But nonetheless, looking at the map for what it is, Treyarch did a good job at establishing the atmosphere and placing rewarding weapons that are fun to use. And for our last game being Cold War Zombies, the most underrated map in my opinion is Forsaken. And now this map gets a bad rep mainly because of the horrible map layout, which I fully understand. It just feels like campaign missions slapped together with no rhyme or reason as to why. Although the map layout isn't that good, everything else about this map is actually really well made. You have the return of PhD, which in of itself already puts it as a great map in my opinion. This was the first time since Black Ops 2 Mob of the Dead Grief mode that we've seen the return of the PhD machine. The wonder weapon is also incredible, being one of my favorites when it comes to aesthetics and overall power. The Easter egg is very short and easy. There really isn't too much to it, but the boss fight at the end is very appealing to the eye and has some unique mechanics as well. The ending cutscene was also pretty cool. We got to see Richtofen for the first time since the end of Black Ops 4, which was nice. We also got a teaser as to where the next map was going to take place for the Dark Aether storyline. Overall, Forsaken might not have the best mechanics in Zombies, but it is one of the most appealing to look at with the cool wonder weapon and the tunnels area. A lot of people like to say that it's one of the worst maps in Cold War and Zombies in general, but for me personally, I like this map as I felt like it was a good end to the Cold War storyline, and it also had some pretty cool mechanics like the No Man's Land area and the Chrysalax. Anyways guys, it's going to wrap up this video for today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, do all that. Leave your comments down below if you want to see me do any other type of content. Check out the description as well for more zombie related videos. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say, so peace.